Good morning, ex-Winterview, back again with another brief dialogue for his dear friend Annastacey. Once again, driving in the automobile. Apologies for the audio artifacts on the track in the background. This brief dialogue is on, or is titled, What is Going On? What seems to be going on? A nice little nod to the mystery, the ineffable, that which cannot be spoken about. Sounds a bit Harry Potter. That which people attempt to describe, but really can't be done. Sorry about that. People looking for a description cannot be done. Maybe we should take a little looky-poo, and see why. Let's start in the morning. Why not? It's where the day usually starts for most seekers of enlightenment. Early, of course, because you're getting up to meditate, no doubt. Sipping a coffee, by the way, so excuse the slurping or the brief pausing. That's actually thinking, as I've said before. I'm not sipping, I'm thinking deeply. Okay, that's a good thought. So, in the beginning, it's great because every morning is like the start of the Bible. In the beginning. It literally is the beginning. In the morning. In the beginning. Out of the darkness, you could say, arises. It seems like, well, let's pause a sec. Let's not race ahead into the conceptual world of seeking just yet. That was another thought. A very deep one. Okay. In the beginning, in the morning, it feels like I'm waking up. The individual, the person, is waking up after a pleasant night's repose, dreaming of scantily clad volleyball players. As usual. It seems that way. It seems that out of that nothingness of sleep, here I am again. Hey world, it's me. But if you think about it, if you maybe just explore it a little bit, while we talk about it presently, it's not just the I that wakes up, the me, it's everything. The feeling of the sheets. The sound of breathing, one's own breathing, or if you're so fortunate, someone else's breathing perhaps. The sights of the room around you, perhaps. The quality of the light, perhaps coming in from the window, perhaps a lamp, light, something. There are perhaps sounds, chirping of the birds, if one lives in such an environ. Sounds of traffic, sirens perhaps. Maybe the sounds of inmates, if you've been naughty. Stuff is happening. In that stuff that's happening, it seems that I'm lying there in my bed listening to it. That's what it seems like. But if there is no I, if there is no personal entity, individual lying there, to whom it's all happening, then suddenly it's all just happening. And that singular I that was thought to be contained somehow in the body, that sense of I, or existence I, doesn't go away. There's still the sense of existing, but the locality of that existence is now total, you could say. There's another way of saying it. It's the totality. So whereas the feeling of the sheet was happening to me in the sort of imagination of the seeker, of the person, without the person there, I am that feeling of the seat, suddenly. I am that kind of I am that experience, you might even say. Not a big fan of the word experience, because it immediately conjures up the experiencer who has the experience. But gotta roll with the language. So there's just that experience that I am. But I'm not that particular experience either. The attentional mechanism, technical word, the attentional capacity of thought flits around. Perhaps it's aware of something in particular and then something else. This is where it gets even more peculiar. Without the individual there's no more awareness. Awareness is very particular to the imagined individual. I'm aware of is the kind of the formula, you might say. Without the sense of separation or individuality, all there is what's apparently happening. When I say apparently, that's just a little nod to the limitation of our descriptions. Well, a pretty big nod, really. That all semantics and description, no matter how clever we are, pretty much not that clever at all, clueless in a way. So whereas the attentional mechanism of thought would flit and change, and it would be reported that I'm aware of this, I'm aware of that, etc., etc., and so forth, it kind of becomes, how to describe it? It's like just the ever-shiftingness of the experience. Hate that word, but anyway. Ever-shiftingness of the experience that I am. Not to be confused, sometimes I'm trying to think of what the mind will make of these words as I say them. Not to be confused with the idea that I'm a body, now I'm a lamp, now I'm a bird song, now I'm a... It's not like that. It's not like your identity shifts around with each flit of awareness, you could say. I'm doing probably a very poor job here. Anyway. The world, it unfolds. It arises, you could say, it appears, whatever. It doesn't matter. But what's extraordinary is, irrespective of the apparent seeker or any idea of enlightenment or any idea of the enlightened seeker or person, the world still unfolds as it does, which is an incredible mystery, because it continues to unfold in that same kind of way. There's not a sudden dismantling of the appearance such that, it's like seeing the code in the Matrix. Well, that could happen, I suppose. But that ordinariness is still there, that undercurrent of ordinariness. The urge for a coffee. The, I don't want to go to work today thought. The, I need to remember to go to the bank and do such and such a task pops in. The forgetting to buy milk last night and being annoyed that I can't have it on my cereal or in my coffee in the morning can happen. The annoyance, the flash of annoyance. But for no one, it's no one's annoyance. No one forgot to buy the milk. I could blame someone, but... And then the day takes off much as usual, you could say. But there's a quality to the appearance which is unusual. Is that it's a very funny paradox. It's expected because it's normal, but it's totally unexpected in every moment. Totally unexpected. There's a freshness, you could say. There's a freshness. Even though what seems to be happening is completely and utterly ordinary, even mundane, there's a freshness to it. I think when there's a seeker there trying to know the world, there seems to be almost like a dual process in thought. This is just hypothetical, of course. I'm just trying to imagine it. There's a dual process in thought of me experiencing, me trying to own such and such. Everything happens to me, everything's in relation to me, is a process. That requires sort of a psychic energy to maintain that everything is somehow in reference to me. I was going to say it's not natural, but that might suggest it's wrong. It's not an ease of function, you could say. My hunger, my getting up, my putting on my clothes, going to work, how does this relate to me, etc., etc. A sense of trying to own everything, a sense of the individual tries to experience everything, my experience. The individual's very concerned with the quality of their experience. If the experience is a bit subpar, a bit boring, or a bit mundane, it's a problem for the individual to solve. It's their boredom, so to speak. They have to somehow, the mind is triggered to respond to that. I've got to fix the boredom, change the experience, because it's my experience. Without a seeker in the middle, it's funny, there can be boredom, but it's sort of experienced in a kind of a different way, in a way. Hard to say. There can be a seeking for excitement as well. I'm aware vaguely that I'm pretty much contradicting myself with every sentence. So, that's annoying, hey. So, this world unfolds in a way that's seemingly ordinary, seemingly the same as usual. But without that claimingness going on. That's another way of putting it, a claimingness. Yeah, I like that. So the mind engages in a claimingness. Me, this is happening to me. This is mine. So forth. And this is a bit of a problem, because after a long period of conditioning the mind to think this way, everything that is heard, even about enlightenment or liberation, no matter how amazing the description, it's taken personally, or it's framed personally. That enlightenment will happen to me. Or even to hear that there is no personal self sets up a very funny dynamic in the mind. The mind will go, right, there's no personal self, great, good, got it. I need to realize that somehow. What I need to do is find a way to understand that, so to speak. And that becomes we'll call it the seeking energy. So it's personalized it yet again. And not because it made a mistake. That would be an erroneous conclusion. That's what it does. The mind just takes on that personalization automatically. It has to, in a way, because it operates in the space-time universe, where it presumes cause. It has to, in some ways, create the causal agent. At all points, it has to create a causal agent. No matter what's happening, it will create a causal agent. Even gravity. Let's say we see a leaf falling, the mind would say it's gravity. Pulling the leaf down. Straight away, causal agent. If there's driving, I'm the driver. I think I've talked about that in other dialogues, so I won't labour that point at this moment. So the mind here is about liberation, a so-called, it somehow tries to imagine it as a state of no self. But what's really funny is that there never was a self. That life was happening already very well, thank you very much, without this person. So it's imagined when the self goes by the mind that life will change. It'll be different when there's no self. But if there isn't a self presently, then this is it. This is actually it. And this is it-ness, because there ain't no word for that. This is it-ness includes the experience of a personal self. An imagined personal self. That's what's included in the totality of the here we're back to the word experience. Okay, we'll use it. Experience. Again. Back to that. So in this current, ever-changing, mysteriousness already, without anything being in the way of this awakeness, without anything interrupting the very awakeness that I am, there appears a person, an individual, a contracted center to whom it's all happening, and the mind very happily extrapolates from that sense of contraction into a personalized experience of totality. So, then we hear about this thing called Enlightenment, and we try to get there because we don't like this person. This person is limited and flawed, annoying, does silly things, doesn't lead its life in a very clever way. So the mind engages the task of finding liberation. First of all, it labels it. It's liberation. It's enlightenment. It's non-duality. It's Advaita or Advaita Vedanta. It's not two. It's oneness. It's love. It's God. So we have to label it first. And now we can structure it. Now that we've got an idea about it, we can structure it. Never mind that there is no personal self. We'll just pretend there is for this search. We'll just pretend there is. And off we go. Personal self in one hand, flashlight, torch in the other hand, guiding the way towards enlightenment. And we're on our way. And there's so many wonderful ways to get enlightened for the personal self. There's first and foremost on the shopping list is meditation. What I'm going to do is sit very, 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 very peacefully in a sort of semi-hypnotic, trance-like state of nothing, with a very still mind. And because my mind is still and there are no personal thoughts or I thoughts or any thoughts at all jumping in, then I will gradually dissolve into oneness. No, that won't work. I'll try something else. What I need to do is be clever about this. If there's no I, and I know that, then who knows that is I who isn't there? So, therefore, if I'm not there and I don't know that, then who knows that? Okay, can't figure it out. Intellect doesn't work very well in this endeavour. I need to pray. You know what I need to do? I need God to fix this for me. I can't do it by myself. I'm going to surrender. That's what I'll do. I will surrender my will to God. God's will is almighty, it's all-powerful, it is pretty amazing. It holds the universe together and stuff. Pretty big deal. So what I'm going to do is say, I can't do this. Over to you, God. And take it away, God. Whenever you're ready, I would like to be enlightened now. Okay, now. How about now? What about now? Maybe my life is a bit impure in some way and God won't reward me. That's what it is. I need to purify my life a little bit. Vegetarian diet, simple, humble demeanor. I have to eat locally grown organic vegetarian food, of course, sourced from ethical farm standards, and so on and so forth. I have to be non-judgmental. No one likes a judger, especially God, apparently. So I need to do that. Okay, maybe I'm not doing it right. Maybe I need to read a book on how to sort of do this. What I need to do is read a lot of books about it. That's what I'll do. I'll read a lot of books. That's what I'll do. Then I will be closer to enlightenment, I think. And so on, and so it goes. Now is it the seeker who's seeking? What's going on there? It feels like the seeker is seeking. It feels like I'm seeking. I'm on my way. That's what it feels like. But that is representative of anything that the seeker does, not including enlightenment, but anything. The seeker needs to own or understand everything. Whether it's relationships or work skills, whether it's family stuff, cultural stuff, academic-y sort of stuff, you name it. The seeker has to own it. It can't not own it. So that's the awfulness right there, is that the seeker will not stop, cannot stop. The seeker will not stop till it owns what it craves. And awfully for this seeker, it can't own anything because, I said it before, I'll say it again, there is no seeker, there is no individual. So this is the crux of the awfulness of the search, a search for something, anything, to own it that can't be owned. This is why the seeker is kind of permanently dissatisfied, always looking to own that thing, even silly things like going to a party and having a good time. It wants to own that good time, but it can't. Ever wondered why when you plan something out really meticulously. It can work okay, but the planning doesn't indicate the level of fun and enjoyment in the event, and sometimes the unplanned events are extremely enjoyable. That spontaneity that the seeker couldn't plan for. So that attempt to own is like a deadening, there's another good word, dulling thing on life. That energy to own it all, and never can. Always dissatisfied, always restless. Can't own anything. Can't grasp anything. Can't even draw a breath. The seeker can't even draw a breath. Isn't that amazing? Can't even blink. I'm trying to think of the most minuscule thing. It can't even, I don't know. It can't even look straight ahead. How about that? It can't even lie on its back staring at the ceiling. The seeker cannot do that. Anyway, I'm drifting off into samadhi, and it's not good to do that when you drive. Better to do that in a boring dinner party. Okay, once again, thanks for listening. Comments are welcome.